Before the 20th century, the ulcer was not a respectable disease. Doctors would say, "You're under a lot of stress." That was until the era of Barry Marshall. In the same year that Ronald Reagan became president, that the Iran hostages were released, that IBM first released its computer, Barry Marshall began his work. 30 years ago, I stood on this balcony. It was the center of the universe for stomach ulcers. People were falling left and right. To first understand the disease, you must understand the man. This is Tom Brokaw reporting, and I have a stomach ulcer.
Barry James Marshall was born in Kalgoorlie, Western Australia in 1951. Marshall was educated at the University of Western Australia and also the University of Virginia. He is most well known for his work surrounding peptic ulcers. If you don't think that sounds important, just ask someone who has had one.
Yeah, I had a stomach ulcer. It was life-changing. Waking up every day with an incredible pain, like a butter knife being stabbed into your belly. You know, like not sharp enough to make a clean cut, so not like great. I'm so thankful for Barry Marshall. I credit that man to saving my life, even though I had never heard of him before this interview.
Along with a decrease in quality of life, stomach ulcers have also been linked to an increase in risk for stomach cancer. Previous to the cure pioneered by Marshall, stomach ulcer treatment would usually involve treatment by unnecessarily removing chunks of the stomach. Ulcers were believed to be caused by stress and/or stomach acid, as it was believed that bacteria could not thrive in the highly acidic stomach. Suggesting that the ulcers were caused by anything other than stress was career suicide, as the idea of bacteria was rejected by the rest of the scientific community.
Barry Marshall, a true pioneer for the field of science and medicine. Really, career suicide is the perfect way to put it, you know? Literally and figuratively. Basically, drinking poison, you know? It's amazing. I mean, he could have died. It's career suicide. And it could have been real suicide. And really to just go against the status quo like that, to really truly believe in his theory, it's remarkable. It's really admirable of him. I would describe him as the honey badger of science and medicine. Because he just doesn't care. You know, he doesn't, you know.
Regardless of this, Marshall pressed on and continued with his research. He believed that a bacteria called H. pylori caused stomach ulcers, but this could not be proven as his experiments on piglets had failed to grow ulcers.
Professor Marshall, he changed my life. Before his class, I was addicted to drugs and partying, but after I took his class, he changed me. He made me want to study medicine and save people's lives.
But now this is where shit gets crazy. As human trials were not allowed by law, this hero took it upon himself to prove his hypothesis. He shotgunned a petri dish of the bacteria in order to give himself stomach ulcers. Within a week, he had developed a stomach ulcer and then proceeded to cure it himself with antibiotics.
Barry Marshall gave himself an ulcer, and he cured it himself. You know, I'm just kidding. I mean, there's no songs about Barry Marshall. He's too obscure, you know. But an American hero, he is.
Now you may ask why this Australian man may have any significance to America. If you ask this, you're stupid. According to Johns Hopkins Medical Center, approximately 500,000 new cases of peptic ulcers are reported each year. At any given time, as many as 5 million people are affected in the United States alone. Patients with peptic ulcer disease may experience a range of symptoms from mild abdominal pain and burning to bleeding, vomiting, or catastrophic perforation of the organ lining, a life-threatening condition requiring emergency surgery. 35% of patients diagnosed with gastric ulcers will suffer serious complications, such as bleeding and perforation. Although mortality rates from peptic ulcer disease are low, the high prevalence of ulcers and the resulting pain, suffering, and expense are very costly.
So yeah, the story of Barry Marshall is a very interesting story. I mean,
The amount of people that this guy saved from living up through a life of pain and suffering is incredible. I think he needs some sort of recognition. We should rewrite textbooks or put him in them or something. I mean, this guy is a hero, an obscure one at that, but he is an American hero, and this is incredible. When you have that many people in the United States affected by stomach ulcers, there is no question about it. I mean, even I look up to Barry Marshall, and I'm Eric Foner. So, if you have ever had a stomach ulcer as an American, then you can say he is not a hero to Americans.
If we take an honest evaluation of Barry Marshall and all of the lives that he saved, American lives, human lives, we will truly see what a great American hero he was and how underappreciated he is.
Tune in next week for our episode on the next American hero, Austin Lemons.
Shut the whole thing?
Yeah, dude.
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Born in the USA, I was born in the USA, I was born in the USA, born in the USA.